So we'll be continuing our series of NLP. So we have talked about a number of steps that have been taken by the government under this NLP so as to reduce down onto the cost, as to minimize onto the risk, and thereby to boost the economic growth of the nation. So we'll be further, talking about that what else have been done under the NLP so as to give it a leverage, right? So you must have heard about the GATI Shakti program of the government. Right. So this GATI Shakti program have been already been you could say announced by the government, and the very you could say the goal of the GATI Shakti program is to implement the infrastructure connectivity. So when I say GATI Shakti means when we are talking about the multimodal transportation system. When we are talking about that this Gati here means with the speed. And this multimodal transportation system, when we are talking about that, this and better road connectivity should be there, better infrastructure connectivity should be there, there should be better ports, there should be better you could say ocean transportation modes or railway projects across the nation in a well integrated, in a well coordinated manner. That means government says that कि अगर आपको एक सामान को कोई भी अपने कार्गो भेजना है किसी भी पॉइंट से दूसरे पॉइंट में, तो उसमें इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चरल बॉटलनेक्स नहीं होने चाहिए, उसमें किसी भी टाइप की हर्डल्स नहीं होने चाहिए. सो अगर हम अपने एनएलपी के विजन को बूस्ट अप कर दे या कंबाइन कर दे, इफ वी कपल इट अप विद द एग्जिस्टिंग यू कुड से इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर and connectivity networks, so then the growth will be, you could say it will be great, there will be better transformational capacities. So Gati Shakti program is one such thing that we can penetrate upon, right? And Gati Shakti program says that we need to boost onto the infrastructure connectivity, we need to have dedicated freight corridors, we need to have good and better roadways. That is what is Nitin Gadkari, our Honorable Minister is stressing upon. He says that having the roads is very integral for any nation, and he talks about the same. He says that it is very necessary, it is very quintessential to have a better roadways and railway network. And we could see that a number of efforts, a number of projects have been taken up by the the government under this vision of our Gati Shakti program, wherein the entire idea, entire goal is to ensure the connectivity across India. Right, that there should be better roads, whether it's a hilly area or whether it is a plain area, right? That connectivity should be there. So despite every odd, the government is taking an effort that yes, that connectivity should be established to each and every person in India, whether he or she is residing in a far-flung area, any hinterlands, but that connectivity should be provided, right? Under this thing, another thing that is the Sagar Mala. So you must have heard about the Gati Shakti programs, you have heard about the Sagar Mala projects, Bharat Mala, then we have Parvat Mala. So what is the aim of having all these Bharat Mala, Sagar Mala, Parvat Mala? Entire intent is to ensure the connectivity across India. So when I say Sagar Mala, it means the vision is to connect the coastline of India. The vision is to connect the waterways of the India, right? So that is Sagar Mala, means that connecting the coastlines of India, connecting the waterways of India, right? So that a better ocean transportation or better waterway system is ensured, that connectivity is boosted. Similarly, when we are saying about Bharat Mala, so under the Bharat Mala, the government's vision is to reduce the infrastructural gaps that are there in the efficient and the effectiveness of the road traffic. So you could easily see in the metropolitan cities, there are huge traffic jams, there are very problems with respect to the roads, right? So and sometimes the roads were not into the right shape, right? So the government is taking that in that effort under this Bharat Mala thing, that that infrastructure, a well connected roadways network is created, whether we talk about Delhi, whether we talk about a rural area where there are, there were the time periods when there were no better connectivity between the towns and the rural villages. So now the government is taking every initiative so as to connect every village with the towns, and then to integrate them. So any vision, when we talk about whether it is NLP or any other initiative or program being declared, until or unless we talk about the inclusivity, that means the inclusive growth, there cannot be growth of the economy. The growth can only be ensured when we are including each and every person into that, that process of that mechanism of your growth. And that mechanism is whether you are launching any product, whether you are announcing any initiative, your focus is on to what? Your focus is on to that you are connecting, that you are providing these services to the last mile. You are ensuring the last mile connectivity. This is what is the government's vision. Government has created, you could have seen easily, so many roads have been created, so many railway networks have been created. You could see a number of railway lines being introduced, whether it is the Tejas, whether it is the Vande Mataram, or number of trains added to the network so as to ensure the faster delivery and speed also. And also further, the government is saying that the aim is not just to ensure the to reduce the time, but also to curtail down onto the cost, right? Recently you have seen that the prices of your railway tickets for the AC coaches have been reduced. So that is, we are not just ensuring, the government is not only ensuring that the connectivity with respect to the railway lines is, is maintained, but rather it is also ensuring that the cost, the corresponding cost is also reduced, right? And this should be the vision, that you are not only talking about the one aspect, whether you are talking about the cost, you are talking about the timing also, right? And you are also making sure that the services, the benefit reaches out to each and every person in the economy, right? So that is why you would see a number of bridges have been constructed, a number of ropeways have been constructed. That is what? That is a better and the biggest, you could say, means to achieve or to obtain a better infrastructure connectivity across India, right? So this NLP, this will enable a model shift in the logistical network. Right now we are heavily relied on to the roads transport, and the majority of our reliance is on to the roads transport. But if we are having a well integrated, well connected railways network, well connected waterways and coastlines, so why not there should be a model shift? If that model shift can lead to reduced costs, so that is what is the vision under this NLP, right? So, these were the different initiatives, these were the different steps. There are many others which have been taken by the government under this vision of your NLP. But now the point comes that how do we measure this logistical performance of, any country, if we say, right? We generally measure this LPI onto the basis of the weighted average of the country's scores, which further depends onto the 6 key dimensions, right? And this dimension is not defined by any specific country, either this entire LPI index has been given by the World Bank, wherein it talks about the 6 major dimensions. The first one being the efficiency of the clearance process. That means the speed, that means the simplicity, the ease with which you are able to complete all the formalities, right? Whether we are talking within the domestic periphery, whether we are talking across international boundaries. So that efficiency of the clearing process, that should be very smooth, that should be free from any sort of your complexities, any sort of your ambiguities. It should be very fast, right? That is the first parameter. Another parameter is the quality of your roads and transportation related infrastructure, which is, again, you could see all these things that have been marked out under your this LPI index, they have already been taken up by the government under this NLP vision, right? Whether we talk about the quality of the trade or the transport, government is talking about connecting the ports, connecting the railroads, connecting the roads, making sure all the data is, integrated, it is digitally driven. So we are also making use of the IT, right? And further, if I say, for example, recently the government has tried to, has taken an initiative again in Lakshadweep, whereby they have connected the port lines, port areas in the island, that is Lakshadweep ne, and which is your GATI and this, Minikoi. So the government is, setting up the, trying to set up as much as, that connectivity could be ensured. It is trying to ensure the connectivity between different, railway lines, roadways connectivity should be there, ports connectivity, then ports development activities. So, a number of initiatives have been taken by the government again with respect to this particular parameter. Then, ease of arranging competitively priced shipments, right? So, again, as I was saying, if there is better connectivity, if there is better roads, if there is better railways, then there will be faster speed and there will be reduced cost, right? Obviously, the benefit, you would not see the growth in just, it cannot serve as a magic bullet. It will take its due time, right? And due efforts are being taken up, and for sure the results in the coming year will be seen, it will be easily visible, wherein all these efforts would obviously lead to a better, you could say, logistical performance, right, with respect to our LPI index also. Fourth point is competence and quality of logistical services. So whether we talk about the transport operators, whether we talk about the custom brokers which are there, any freight forwarders, so better quality services are there. We are able to provide the better services when it comes to logistical performance. Then the ability to track and trace consignments. As I was talking about, initially we talked that, whether government talks about e-log, whether government talks about SAG, whether government talks about ULIB. So the, effort is that integrated structure should be, created, wherein all the departments are interconnected and they are easily able to track and trace the consignments from any part of India, right? So that will ensure also that, this is again a one crucial parameter under our LPI. So government is already doing a lot with respect to the same. And lastly, the timeliness of shipments in reaching the destination within the scheduled time. That means if we are ensuring the better, dedicated freight corridors are there, if we are ensuring the shipments would reach on time, right, obviously there will be timeliness of the shipments, that dwelling time would also reduce, the faster speeds would be there. So you could see with respect to all these 6 parameters, a number of efforts have been taken by the government, so that not just our LPI index is improved, but also that we are able to give a tough competition, right? Plus we are able to get the competitive advantage in the international markets, right? If we talk about the data set released by the World Bank with respect to the LPI index, you could easily see that India has jumped up from the previous rank of its 44th in 2018 to 38th rank in 2023. So we are having a better dwelling time than number of advanced nations. As the very last time I talked about that we are able to reduce onto the dwelling time with respect to one particular connectivity lines from 32 days to 5 days. So you could see how great that leap was, and we are also able to improvise with respect to soft and hard infrastructure. So when I say soft infrastructure, that means the IT, right, the digital data that I'm referring to. So you could see with respect to our infrastructure we have improvised, with respect to the shipments also we have improvised, right? With respect to our logistical performance or competence, if I talk about, we have done a great with respect to the previous one. And similarly with respect to timeliness, as I was talking about, that we are able to reduce on to the dwelling time. So you could see the impact over here, that we are earlier the rank was 52nd, now we are on to 35th. So that is a great jump. So the two parameters as per the data set release are the customs and the tracking and tracing. If we are able to again perform better onto these two parameters along with the other four parameters, then definitely we are again able to jump high, right? And that vision of being there among the top 25 countries is is not that much far, right? And presently if we talk about, Singapore is grabbing the first position, then comes the Finland, Germany, right? So you could see that India has performed well over the time period. It has improved with respect to logistical factor, and wherein the technology has also played a crucial role. So this data set will help you analyze that we are doing great, and this is what is not what we are saying, this is what is the world is saying, and this is the data set which is released by the World Bank, right? Now when we say with respect to this national logistical policy, there are a number of other efforts apart from your GATI Shakti Yojana or the Bharat Mala or the Sagar Mala or the Bharat Mala. Bharat Mala, Sagar Mala we already discussed upon, right? We discussed upon the Gati Shakti Yojana also. Further is Bharat Mala, that is simply, as the name indicates, that to connect all the those hilly areas, so as to via making the bridges or the ropeways, so as to ensure the connectivity, right? Now further, another thing that comes into the picture is your another initiative is UDAN. That is, UDAN is what? UDAN is it is named by the government. That is you could say an initiative wherein this is a scheme for every you could say every citizen of India. So this is actually acronym as you could say Udega Desh Ka Aam Nagarik, right? So that is what is the vision, that UDAN would do what is, it would ensure the connectivity, it would lead to port development, airports development, right? It would ensure the connectivity, there will be more hubs, there will be more airports being developed. So right now for taking a airline or taking a flight is just a dream for number of people, right? So if we are able to again able to develop the infrastructure for all these port areas, and we are better able to create the services, and if we are able to cut down onto the cost, then maybe sooner it will not be a dream for many, right? So again the government is trying every effort, a number of efforts have been directed towards this thing. That first thing is the revival of certain things which earlier was not there, right? Then to build up such infrastructure which will lead to better growth, right? Another point that we can add on to the same is with respect to the global value chain. So global value chain is when we say that it breaks up, like the entire your production process is not there situated into one nation, rather it is they are segregated across different countries. So any country having a specialization in production of any article, any raw material or the processing, so that specific task is being assigned to that particular firm or a nation, rather than giving the entire production of the entire product to one particular firm or a nation. Rather a global value chain is ensured, wherein let's suppose any person having a expertise in the production of, let's say, raw material, so that particular firm will be given the task with respect to the raw materials. If someone is having an expertise with respect to parts, so you will be definitely assigning the second thing of your processing to that second person. Further on, if someone is good in assembling. So you would see, number of your iPhones which are being made, somewhere else, and then they being assembled somewhere else. A number of other smartphones, they are, different parts are being built up in, different parts of the, you could say the country of the world. So the intent is what to avail the benefit of this global value chain. So I'll simply take this, this example of Wimbledon's tennis ball production miles. So this would give you a very clear idea how, in the production of this one tennis ball, a number of miles are being covered, which is a total journey of approximately 80,000, miles, wherein, different materials are being procured from different nations. So if I talk about, let's say, your, USA, so the clay is being taken up from the US, right? So if I talk about, let's say, any other component that is required for the, production of this tennis ball, for example, rubber. So rubber is, you could see, is taken up from Malaysia, because that particular firm which is there into Malaysia is having the best rubber maybe in the world. So, right? Similarly, if I talk about the glue is taken from Philippines, right? Similarly, if I talk about wool is taken from the New Zealand, right? So on, different materials are being, taken, they have been assigned to different firms which are there into different nations. So this is nothing but the global value chain, wherein, just if we taking this example of making one tennis ball, or you could see a number of materials are required into the same, and here into this production, we are not relying on to one particular firm for the production of this entire tennis ball. Rather, we are segregating the activities based on to the expertise. If the glue of your, let's say, Philippines is the best in the world, so glue is being obtained from there, then all these materials are being brought to the production center which is there in Philippines, right? And you could see here that in the Philippines all that processing is being done, right? And then from Philippines it moves to the Indonesia for the packaging thing, and then finally after that packaging is being done, then it is being sent to Wimbledon. So you could see how many miles have been covered just for the production of one tennis ball. So this is not, I'm telling you with respect to that, there is wastage of time or money. Rather, you are getting the best of the quality and with lesser of the cost in a time efficient manner, right? If you are having a well integrated logistical infrastructure, right? If your infrastructure is such, integrated, you can have the benefits of of segregating the task to different firms, to different units, to different nations maybe, right? So you could see that this global value chain is again is another point that could be seen into with respect to the same, that how you could say when we are serving the international markets, NLP could ensure the connectivity, it can boost the connectivity, it can ensure the better performance, it could ensure the better functioning and infrastructure. When we talk about, it will not only, though we are talking about ITLS, that is International Trade Logistics and Sourcing, but otherwise if we see it from within the nation perspective, imagine if you are having the best of the roads in the world. Imagine if you are having the great railway network, right? You are having the better connectivity of the railways, right? So, you could just imagine about how well integrated that structure would be, that ecosystem would be, that, mechanism would be for every citizen. So, if I'll just take a very, layman example of your this metro. So you would see that metro lines are spread across Delhi and maybe other metropolitan cities. So how you could see faster they are, how cheaper they are, and how good they are. So you could reach any corner of your Delhi and in the fastest way possible, right? and the cheapest way possible altogether. So this is through a well, setup mechanism, well, you could say integrated mechanism, wherein you could see every corner is there into those dotted lines of the metro. You being into any corner of your Delhi, or you could say take any example of Mumbai, so you would see that such ease is being provided, such better timeliness is being provided. So imagine the railways going on to the same way. Imagine you having the better roads. So you could see if that there will be reduced time also, there will be reduced cost also. You could see in another example with respect to these Vande Bharat trains that have been that has been running across India, connecting different cities, right, different parts of India, and how convenient they are, how better they are, how faster they are, right. And similarly, various other railway lines that have been set up in line with the same, so as to ensure the faster connectivity. So this is you could say a bird view with respect to your National Logistical Policy 2020-22, right? And the aim is to reduce onto the cost, right? So we'll be talking about a number of other initiatives which have been taken by the government, right, in the past few years in the coming session. So thank you for that day.